Hello, everybody, and welcome to Voices of the Goddess podcast, where we empower, inspire, and uplift women to be the goddesses they were meant to be. I'm your co-host, Julietta, the magical PT, and I am here in sunny South Florida, although it's gearing up to be summer here and kind of wish I could go back to my homeland of Wisconsin for the summer. Maybe one day that will happen. But anyway, I'm a physical therapist here in private practice, and my passion is helping people find balance in their body, mind, and spirit. Yes, my focus is on the musculoskeletal system as a PT, but I also look at emotions and your soul and finding balance there, because that has just a great of an impact on the well-being of your body, as do the orthopedic issues themselves. And in addition to being a podcaster, I also custom make malas like I'm wearing today, and other jewelry and art made with crystals, and sometimes I paint. And I don't know, I'm probably forgetting something else I do, but yeah, that's mostly me. And how about my co-host, Allison? Tell us about you.
Hello, everybody. I am Allison Mancini, and I am Human Resources Manager and Functional Nutritionist. I work at the Gold Digger Girl, which is a company that just helps women show up authentically on social media. And I also do functional nutrition, and that is kind of where my human resources and functional nutrition kind of marry together, because I'm super passionate about helping and supporting women to be the best that they can be. And I know from my personal experience that if you're not eating well, that if you're not taking care of yourself in regard to your food, it is very hard to be your best self. So Juliet and I kind of have a lot of the mindset on that of, really taking care of your body preventatively. Is that right? That's the right word. I'm also married to my husband for over 28 years, originally from Michigan, also a Midwest girl, and been in Florida for a very, very long time. And I agree with you. The summer times, the longer I'm here, I think the more brutal that they get. I would love to be able to do the back and forth, but that's not happening anytime soon. So I also have two wonderful young adult children, a 25-year-old and a 22-year-old that I'm super proud of. I also have a dog. I'm a fur mom, and I'm getting another one. So I'm going to be a double fur mom. So just a little bit out of my mind, decided now my kids are grown, I'm just going to have puppies. So. And I'm a co-host of this awesome podcast. And we have an amazing new sponsor.
We do. New month, new sponsor.
New month, new sponsor. So we would love to introduce you to our sponsor, and it is Jewel Toned Interiors. They are an award-winning, women-owned interior design company located here in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Fort Lauderdale Magazine named Jewel Toned Interiors the #1 interior designer in town. They transform lives by the creation of experiential interiors for all people. It's what drives them to produce environments that truly reflect the unique personality of each and every client they have the pleasure to work with. Imagine how a strategic work environment can positively impact your bottom line. It's been proven to increase employee productivity and morale while making a lasting impression on customers and new hires. The jewel-toned interior gems, as they call themselves, come from a variety of backgrounds with experiences in many industries, from restaurants and retail to offices and multifamily housing. They are proud to be trusted with something as important as your vision. So let them bring it to life for you. It all starts with an idea, so let them help you consider the possibilities today. Discover more about jewel-toned interiors and what they're capable of at jeweltonedinteriors.com. And Julietta and I have the privilege and honor of knowing the owner, Joy, and they really are incredible and do incredible work and just a delight to work with. Just some really amazing, powerful women that are just beautiful inside and out. So,
yeah, I've been in a few of the spaces that they've designed, and it's not just what it looks like, it's what it feels like to be in the space that they've designed. So
it's the energy of it. It's amazing.
Well, you know me, I'm all about the energy. So
I know.
Can't recommend them enough. It's
right.
All right.
Okay. So we're going to have an interesting conversation here for a couple minutes. We were talking about this off camera yesterday, and it's kind of interesting. So I'm just going to let you jump right in there, Julietta.
So what we were talking about is, I'm a physical therapist, although my clients frequently forget that I'm a physical therapist. I'll sometimes get the question, do you think I should see a physical therapist? I'll be like, you know where you are, you know what I am. And they're like, yeah, but you know what I mean, a regular physical therapist. And but also because of that, lack of connection to me being a physical therapist, people often experience change in things other than just their pain and the physical body that they're coming to me for. So people tell me, oh, I'm going to refer my friend to you. And I'm like, okay, what do they need help with? Their kidneys. And I'll be like, I'm a physical therapist. I don't treat kidneys. And
the best is the constipation.
Yeah. But even for years, I would have people, they would come to me for back pain or something. And they'll come in after a few visits and say, since I've been seeing you, my constipation is gone. I'm like, I didn't even know you had constipation. But I said in my head, I help people with constipation, but no one's ever going to actually refer someone to physical therapy for constipation. No sooner did that come out of my mouth than someone referred someone to me with constipation. And now people come to me all the time with constipation. So if you're constipated,
if you're constipated, you need to change your diet, number one.
You need to see Allison to change your diet. And
number two, go see Julietta. But I think it's so
number two, no pun intended.
Yeah. But I think it's so true what, if you've ever seen, if you're an audience member out here that has been to Julietta, I have been to Julietta many times. My kids have, my mother has. And it's interesting that you say that because I remember when my mom had her knee replacement, I was like, should she go to you or should she go to like a physical therapist? And you were like, I can handle it. She could come to me. But the other side of that is I think it's so interesting. And this is why you are considered the magical PT and why so many people go to you is because it's all about everything's connected. Our energy, it's all connected. So when you're clearing up all these other things, they're connected to things such as being constipated, things such as issues within your body. So it all works together, So I mean, I'm not shocked that people come to you for other stuff too. So
yeah, no, and that's in addition to, so my one tagline is where medicine meets magic,
right?
But the other thing that is said multiple times a day in my, because I might be treating someone's shoulder and I have to do something to their ankle to help fix their shoulder. And it is because everything is connected. And so that should be my other tagline. Everything's connected.
Well, what was it I just saw you for recently was that, it should be everything is connected. Well, it was my leg. I thought I had pulled a muscle when it turned out it was just my pelvic floor was kind of messed up. So just, you never know. And really, it was really interesting because the next day I was totally fine. And I was in so much pain that I couldn't even get out of bed. Nick's like, what happened to you? I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, I just can't walk. And he's like, are you going to go see someone? I'm like, yes, I'm going to see Julietta. So all right. We need to get our guests on here. We need to bring her on.
Bring your guest on.
All right. Hey, Wendy, how are you?
I'm great.
Welcome, Wendy.
So excited to have you today. I'm excited for all of our guests, but I get a little bit more excited when there's somebody that I get the pleasure of working with all the time and I get to see often. So why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself to our audience, tell them a little bit about you and what you do.
Okay. Well, first of all, thank you for having me. It's very exciting. And I loved your conversation. Oh boy, you ladies are funny. So my name is Wendy Kat. I am a success coach with the Gold Digger Girl community. I'm also run multiple businesses. I am a solo mom. I like to call myself a solo mom of a 21-year-old son, Gavin, and a 16-year-old daughter, Gianna. So life is interesting and has changed a little bit for me in the last couple of years. I'm also an East Coaster up north where it's cold. So I'm cold. You guys are warm, but so that's a little bit about, I'm also a fur mom too. And her name is Birdie. She's 2 years old and she's my life. I love her so much.
She's really cute.
Mm-hmm.
She is really cute. I get to see her pictures.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we find that most of the women that come on here are we do all kinds of things. There's not really like one thing we do. We tend to have multiple businesses, multiple streams of income. And I think that's very common, more so these days than when I was growing up. Like that wasn't something you did.
The slash.
Yeah, we're like the slash. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, when I was growing up, you found a job.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yep.
Not
I was just telling my son that because he's kind of in a place of like, he's 21. He's a pandemic kid. He just started out lazy. Now he's really super lazy and focus. You know what I mean? It's just like, but I told him, I was like, when I came out of college, I found a job and I thought I would have that job forever until I retired. Like, that's how I grew up. Like, that's what we're supposed to do. Find a job, stay there forever, retire. And it's not like that. And I'm like, you're going to have many jobs, like it's normal to try new things. And now it's like, we don't retire. We look for passive income, multiple streams of income, and things that we enjoy doing and have purpose. And so it's just a whole different way of living our lives and not waiting to that, that retirement date to start living,
Well, I think you made a really good point. And that's one thing Julietta and I have talked about is that, especially because we have kids, my kids are a little bit older than yours, but around the same. And that's interesting. You called your kid a pandemic kid, because that is a fact now, right? There are these kids that are like considered, because that's what it was such a major event in their lives and so drastically changed what they do. But it's interesting to me because when my son, who's now 25, first was going out into the work world, because he actually graduated college right in as the pandemic started, like that summer. And it was one of those things where he thought he needed to just find a job, until I finally sat down with him and I said, you can do more than one thing. Like if you love writing, do writing, and you love teaching hockey, do that too. There's no one says you have to do one or the other. You can do both. I mean, we know that. We learned that from Kimberly, and she, says that all the time, multiple streams. And Julietta, she does artwork, she paints, she makes mallet. I mean, we all do all these different things. And I think it makes us feel, I don't want to say whole, but you know what I'm saying? Like it makes us feel, it feeds all of those needs that we all have. And so I think that's so important.
Yeah, I agree.
So, okay. First question. It completes you, right? Exactly. All right. First question, Wendy, I know this is a hard one, but what is one book that you wish every goddess would read and why?
So it is kind of hard because I'm not a huge reader. I know it's horrible. I don't know if you can see behind me, but like I have lots of books. I tend not to read them to completion. I tend to listen to many on Audible though. So I do that. But one book I did read and listen to, not one, I have many, but
we get it.
Listen, my mom was a librarian. And so all my life, she's been trying to get me to be a reader. I mean, she's one of those people that read multiple books at one time. And yeah, I'm like, oh, how do you do that?
Oh, bad.
So yeah, she had a book everywhere with, bookmarks all over the place. Thanks. And so believe me, this has been a lifetime struggle. So, but anyway, so the book is, you're going to know it. It's Get Rich, Lucky Bee, right?
Oh, you can say it. it.
Get Rich, Lucky Bitch.
There you go. We love that book, by the way.
Yeah. So that book, if you haven't read it, like I said, I actually read it all the way through and I listened to it again. First of all, she has an amazing accent. I think she's from Australia.
Australia, yeah.
And it's just, for someone who's an entrepreneur, and where I grew up, I'm the oldest of four. My dad was an entrepreneur, but struggled a lot. And I'm older than my siblings by like 7 years. So I knew a lot that was going on, like with the struggles with my dad and his businesses. And it was hard. And so I had a lot of baggage basically to unpack around how hard you have to work to earn money, and it's like, if I didn't earn, if I didn't work hard enough, and I didn't deserve the money. And when I would get, like bonuses or whatever, where I felt like it was beyond what I deserved, I basically give it away, so she really helped me figure out like, wow, I'm holding on to a lot of stuff that is keeping me from my goals and from my security for my kids. Cause I was, I'm a single parent. I've been a single parent for 12 years now. But honestly, even when I was in my marriage, I was very independent. Like I was the breadwinner. I was the one, everything was on my shoulders, financially. So that really helped me. So to me, one as an entrepreneur, but as a woman, I think understanding your money mindset and, whatever your blocks or limiting beliefs are around that, it's so important to dive into that and get a better understanding because we sabotage ourselves. So that would be the one.
I think that because I read that book actually within like the last year. I read Think and Grow Rich when I was really young.
Yeah.
And I don't think I was like mentally ready for it at that time. And our first guest that we recorded today, she talked about, or our second guest talked about it. And I'm like, I need to go back and read that again. But Get Rich Lucky Bitch is one of my favorite books. And I think that it really helped me, like you said, to see your like blocks. It helped me to realize the blocks so in my family, it was always, there was never enough there. We didn't have a money tree out back. It's everything was too expensive. Everything was like frugality was the mindset.
Yeah.
And I realized through reading this book that I've put that on my kids. And I was like, oh no, like I just am like repeating to my children. So my latest with them is we'll find it. There'll be money for that. We'll figure it out. Like I had to stop doing that. And it's been hard. It's been hard because you get tripped up in that habit and those things that you always believed. But it is a fantastic book. If you've not read it and you're listening, you need to go pick it up. And I think it's a fast read. I think it's you can work through it pretty quickly.
Well, and she does it in a way where she's asking you to implement things.
Exactly.
Is really good, which that's why I do recommend reading it and not just listen, but I read it first and then listen to it again to refresh. But reading it's really important because there's action steps that she wants you to do. And it's kind of hard to do when you're driving.
Yeah. And the best thing I love that I started doing was she talks about, if you see like a penny on the ground about picking it up, that I started doing it because I had stopped doing that because I was like, penny, who cares? Right. And then the other thing
they're gross and dirty.
And they're right. And the other thing I started doing was, so we shop at Publix down here in Florida, and at Publix, they always have buy one, get one, or buy two for free for $4 or whatever it is. And every time I go grocery shopping, I would always get so excited about how much money I had saved, money I had saved. Mm-hmm. Well, Get Rich Lucky Bitch, she has that whole Google sheet where you can actually track it all. Mm-hmm. And I actually used that. And I started, and it is like, I'm amazed at the end of the month at what I've because it's not just about money that you actually get. It's about value that you also receive. So like when I go out to dinner and someone buys me dinner, like my good friend Julietta did for my birthday, that counted. You know what I mean? Like those kinds of things we don't look at as abundance when it truly is. So it's a great book. I could talk about that book forever. We need to go on to the second question. Okay. All right. Next question is, what is your top self-care practice and how does it support you?
So my top self-care practice would be getting my hair and nails done. Pretty much like on a regular. I mean, I get my nails done every 2 weeks and a pedicure. Pedicure is really important. During the winter, I kind of skip a month or so, but, and it's funny when I was thinking about this, it's like, why? Like to me, it's also like a no-brainer to me. Like I don't even think of it necessarily as self-care because I feel like it's just necessary in my life. Mm-hmm. But then as I talk to other women and some people are like, oh no, they don't have the patience for it or they don't want to spend the money on it. And, everyone has their own thing. But for me, I realize like it's my time. For one, I unplug because I can't be on my phone or anything when I'm getting my nails done and stuff. And I like my hairdresser, so I don't tend to be on my phone and stuff. I tend to converse with her. So it's like a couple hours that I'm like unplugged because otherwise I'm addicted to my phone. So like it's really hard for me to unplug. And then the other part when I was really thinking about it, I'm like, it's my way of pampering myself and taking care of me because I've always been so independent and being single. And so like no one takes care of me. So I have to take care of myself. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of my way of like, taking care of myself and giving myself some time and rewarding myself. So I enjoy that. That's why I like going to get my nails done and get a pedicure. And I really like getting my hair. I would go and see her every week and get it blown out. Like, I love for someone else to do my hair. Like, it's like the best thing. So
it makes me almost fall asleep. It's
Yeah.
so relaxing to me. I'm like half asleep by the time I'm done.
Yeah. So yeah, I would say those are my two things. And sometimes I'm like, it's like kind of not self-care, but it is. It is self-care.
No, it is self-care. And I need to reframe that because there's a reason I don't get my nails done all the time. And you want to hear it? It sounds terrible because I can't get on my phone and it takes too long.
Yeah. That's why you're not alone. That's what I'm saying. I talk to people all the time and they're just like, I can't do, I'm like, oh my gosh. I mean, the only thing I hate is that I'm like having to sit like this the whole time. I'd like it if they do my nails like where I can just like lay back like that. But that's the only downside is that I hate sitting there, that part of it. But I just kind of zone out and let my, like start thinking, because I don't do that. I don't unplug as much as I should. Like I've tried meditation and it's very uncomfortable. So it's kind of my meditation that's forcing on me. So
meditation can take all kinds of forms. It doesn't have to be that strict, parameter. But I mean, I need to reframe how I look at getting my nails done, but it actually made me think of something else. I was recently listening to, how we have access to Mindvalley. Julietta, Mindvalley is this really cool platform that has, Mindvalley. Okay. So Kimberly that's part of our benefits. We get this awesome, we get Mindvalley, we get to use that. And, I was listening to a quest, as they call them, on productivity, and they talked about how important it is to actually, quote unquote, daydream or zone out. And how you just said, how you wish you could just let and just kind of zone out, because your whole frontal lobe of your brain actually starts working in ways that it doesn't normally. And that's why they say a lot of people come up with great ideas in the shower, because you're not doing anything else. You're just standing there like daydreaming and zoning out. And so they actually say if you get stuck in something at work and you're having a hard time working around it, to stop and just go stare out the window or go just sit outside and stare at the tree. Just do something that kind of gets you in that kind of zone of just daydreaming, and it'll get your frontal lobe working and you can go back to work. So a little tidbit for our audience.
Yeah. And to just, maybe this will help you too around, like I tell people this all the time. Part of the reason why I get a pedicure all the time, even in the winter, it's not about my toes being painted. It's more, well, first of all, it just feels amazing. But, when I was pregnant with my son, and you know how when you gain weight, when you're pregnant and your feet get all weird, I ended up having an ingrown toenail and I had to go to a podiatrist. And she was like, you need to just get a pedicure, like regular. It'll help with that. And I was like, oh, so like now I have like a medical reason to go get a pedicure. So
I'll give you even better to add to that. So I learned from my cohort here a few weeks ago. I was helping her do her video for a course she's going to be offering, and it's on how to help with back pain. And did you know that if you massage your foot in particular areas, it is helpful for your back? So if you're curious, you need to go check that out of hers. But I was like, she asked me, she's like, do you mind coming and being a model or so I can do? I'm like, no, absolutely. I would love to do that. And we finished and I looked at her and I'm like, I had no idea. Do you know how many times, Julietta, I sit and rub my feet now?
Yay. Well, and it's not just your spine that's on, and your entire body is represented in your feet, and you just have to know what areas. But yeah, getting your feet massaged is like getting your whole body massaged. Yeah. So, and your hands also. So, manicures and pedicures are, you want to find someone that has attention to detail, so they do a nice job with the painting it. But what you really want is someone who has good massage skills, because while they're rubbing your hands and feet, they're literally massaging your entire body.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Now I'm going to have to start making time for that. Okay. All right. We got to move on. We are just chatting away. I'm so sorry.
But this is good. This is good. Conversation's good. But our third question for you, Wendy, is, because we all have those days where it's so difficult to show up and get our shit done. Yeah. What tool do you pull out of your back pocket when you're having one of those days to get everything done?
One of those days, like every other day. Like, what am I doing?
But that's a true, like, our audience needs to hear that, because we all feel that way and no one ever talks about it. Like, we have those days and no one says anything.
And I think we have those days even more so now that we're so isolated working from home. A lot of us, like maybe, not everyone, but a lot of us have transitioned to working at home. So we're very isolated and by ourselves. So, before when I would work my day job where I had to actually go into work and, do the thing, by the time I got to work, had my coffee on my drive, all right, I'm good, like whatever. But like here at home, it's like you roll out of bed and you're like, what? Like now what, how am I going to, get myself going for the day? But I'm going to tell you, I'm going to show you. Hold on a second. I have this little little graphic that I printed out. I don't know if you've ever seen this. Let me see it.
You never know how close you are. Never give up. Oh, yeah, that's so true. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's great.
Little miners, and they are digging for their diamonds over here. And people are always so close. I truly, truly believe this, that things get so tough right before they're about to explode and get better. And so many people give up like right there, So I always want to be this guy up here that I'm not giving up, and I'm going to keep going for those diamonds because, I love diamonds. But
that's a great visual. I love that, Wendy.
I used to search for it all the time. Like, I'm like, I got to find that diamond. And then I'm like, print it out. Just print it out so you have it. So yeah, I found that, and it just speaks to me. I like visuals. I like, I'm a visual person, and that just like makes so much sense. So that is one I will look at that. It's right there. And the other thing, I just, I've been through quite a journey with my kids. I worked a lot. I sacrificed a lot right after my divorce. I had a full-time job. I was building a business. And then I started another business. So I wasn't home a lot. And it's funny now that my kids are older and we talk about it and stuff, how it impacted my family. And, everything's okay, but it would have been nice to be, a lot of people do a side hustle, or they try to start their business so they can be home with their kids, which I would have loved to have that option. But for me, it was just to be able to give them the life that I always wanted them to have. I didn't want to move from our home and stuff like that. So I think about my journey and what I sacrificed earlier on to where I'm like, I can't stop now. Like this is a new part. Now I'm in thriving mode. And so sometimes my ambition isn't as strong as it was when I was in like survival mode, because survival mode is like hardcore. Like there's no way, I had to go out there and do the thing because I needed to survive for my kids. So I use that story and draw strength from it to keep moving forward, because I want to be able to do other things for I wasn't able to physically be home all the time for them, but now I want to be at a point where financially I can help them in life and help and be there now for them more. So that would be what motivates me.
Yeah. I think that's awesome, because it's interesting to me, Julietta, do you notice this? We always have these running themes in our interviews. And I don't know if you picked up on this, but so far, all three of our guests, including Wendy, have generally talked about just going back and having that introspective, like they've said it in different ways, but they've all kind of like alluded to the same thing, like looking at how far they've come, where they've been at, and moving forward. And it's interesting to me that if you just, so often we get into those, like you said, those mornings where you wake up and you're just, you just feel ick. They can't even put a finger on it. You just feel ick, and you let it just take over instead of taking a moment. And it's one thing I learned from Julietta is feel the feels, like it's okay. Have that time where you feel that ick for a moment, but then kind of do whatever you need to do, whether it's you look at what you're grateful for, you look at how far you come, you look at yourself in the mirror and remind yourself of, where you've been, whatever it is for you. But I think the biggest thing too is that I learned years ago that it's okay to feel that way. And that's why when you first said that, when you said about having every other day, like it's so true. So many times we don't really have that. It's not like you roll out of bed and you're like, yeah, I'm going to crush the day. I wish, but it's not right. It's just not always that way because of just life. And I guess it's perspective too. We just need to change our mindset on that also.
All right. time for question number 4, which is, and yes, every experience that we have in our life helps shape who we are, but there's those standout ones. So what life experience has greatly formed who you are today?
Well, unfortunately, I would say it was a negative one, but it actually turned into a positive one, which was my divorce. I look at like pre-divorce and then post-divorce and who I finally found who I was, and I wasn't living for someone else. And it made me realize that we can have hopes and dreams or plan things out in our head, and it's not going to turn out that way, and it's okay. And it actually might be better. So I just remember going through my divorce and realizing like, wow, this was not part of my story. I remember even telling my ex at the time, I'm like, you wrote a chapter of my story that does not exist. Like, this was not supposed to happen in my life, but now I look back and I'm like, I want to be who I am today. I wouldn't have had you have to go so low or deep or hit rock bottom, whatever you want to call it, to really find out who you are and what you can handle and what you really truly want. And I think a lot of us go through life trying to live out a life that we dreamt about and that we thought we were supposed to have, instead of letting life guide us to who we really are. And so I really learned a lot. I mean, I learned who I was to other people, what my dreams were. It put me on a journey to really find out who my authentic self was and what my purpose is in this world, and wanting to do more for myself and for my kids, the people that are important to me. And I never would have had that opportunity being married to, at least to the person I was married to. So I know, and other people are out there with, really great partners, but I realized like I did not have the right partner to support me in becoming my best self, So I would definitely say my divorce was life-changing. And it also made me very passionate to help other women that are going through similar things. And because it's very lonely, and you think it's just you, like you're the only one out there. And a lot of times, like for me, I was the first one ever divorced in my family, like anyone, like my aunt, uncles, like everyone was married. I was the first, person to be divorced. Even my friends, it wasn't like I was just following a trend and everyone's getting divorced. I mean, I was the first one, how sometimes it feels that way. It's like, oh, everyone's going. I was the first one. So then, even to this day, I will be like the third wheel or the fifth wheel or something, because most of my friends are still married or remarried or whatever. But it's hard because you feel like you're alone and you're wondering what other people are thinking, and the struggle is hard. So you always keep a strong front, and it's you and your kids possibly, and you're like, who do I talk to about this stuff? So now, as where my journey, where I'm coaching women, I realize there's so many tools out there and so many communities out there. I just didn't know about them. So that's a big passion of mine, that to help women realize that there's help and there's tools out there to help you through this.
So many good points that you made there. My big one is always the universe conspires in my favor. And even things that at the moment you perceive as negative, I know that they're there for my benefit. And, look and find the gift in it. And that's something I tell people all the time. And the other thing that I love that you said is so many of us go through stuff and we think that we're alone. And I just encourage everybody to talk about what they're going through, because everybody out there is going through something, and you sharing lets the other people know that it's okay for them to share too. And, the more we put that out there, the less that we're going to each be carrying individually, and just know that it's okay. You're not alone. There's more people going through that.
Yeah.
Lots of good tidbits in what you offered up there. So, we're really talking a lot here, so we gotta get wrapping up. But so our final question for you, Wendy, is if there's one thing that you want our audience to take away from our time here together today, what would that be?
I think kind of like what you were just saying just now was about like community. It's out there, like plug in, sisterhood, whatever you want to call it. I think it's really important to realize that you're not alone. There are people out there that have been through what you have been through or going through what you're going through. There's tools out there. There's people that can help you. But you have to, and I know it's hard because I am an introvert. So this is advice from an introvert. You have to put yourself out there and plug in and look for communities, whether it's, in your actual real life community, or if it's virtually on social media, and whatever that looks like. It could be a hobby, it could be a business, it could be a support group, whatever that is. There is a community out there for you, and you just need to plug in, and then you get to meet awesome people like you, and things just start happening. And so, yeah, I hope that more women plug in, be a part of a community, and heal together.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Wendy. We really appreciate you being on the show. And also want to thank our sponsors today, Jewel Toned Interiors. They are amazing. If you need interior design, check them out. And also, we want to thank our audience, because without you, we couldn't be here doing what we're doing. And so if you like what you've heard today, please subscribe, follow, like, share, because, the messages that are out there help so many people. One of the best feedback that I get from people is when they come back and say, in your show today, you said exactly the message I needed to hear. So, these messages there's someone out there that needs to hear that. So please share them away. And if you would like to get in touch with Wendy or Allison or myself, check out the show notes. All our social media and contact information is in there, and get in touch. We'd love to hear from you. And with that, I'm going to wish everybody a magical day. Bye-bye.